Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. All right. First, thank you, Tom, and to everyone with, here at the North American Biochar Conference for having me here. It's been a real treat. I appreciate the opportunity to engage and connect with you all this week, and I have definitely learned a lot. Again, thank you to the conference organizers who extended the opportunity to me to speak with you this morning about the exciting things happening at USDA NRCS. And the subject that has everyone in the room this week, and that's about providing a service to support farmers, ranchers, and forest landowners and being good stewards of the land, using biochar as the tool to do it. And this is not the tool. There we go. All right. Yes, thank you. Last week, I had a really good opportunity to hear from farmers representing 15 different states across the United States. They were in DC specifically to meet with their representatives and talk to them about the things that matter to them the most. And that is agriculture and the support of USDA programs. They also wanted to talk to NRCS about activities they are doing on their operations to be good stewards with the help of technical and financial assistance from us. This is the part of what I do that I enjoy the most, seeing our work and, of course, your work being implemented on the ground. So having the opportunity to share and also learn this week has been, like I said, a very meaningful experience. USDA has 4 strategic priorities as part of its work on behalf of producers, families, and rural communities, and I would like to talk to you about them today in respect of Conservation Practice Standard 336. The first priority is advancing racial justice, equity, opportunity, and rural prosperity. At NRCS, one of our goals is to make sure that producers have access to all of our programs. If you ever talk to someone in the office, they will say that all of our programs are program neutral. Under this administration, we are continuously looking for opportunities to engage and support producers who have never come to NRCS for technical or financial assistance. With respect to biochar and other carbon amendments, we recognize they can play a significant role in strengthening the resilience of underrepresented producers' agricultural systems in a sustainable and expedient way. Through NRCS's Conservation Innovation Grants Program, or CIG, our soil health demo trials and our CIG Classic, which are both designed to evaluate conservation activities and other technologies that could support our conservation programs, we have awarded a little over $5 million over the last 2 years to partners evaluating barriers to biochar adoption. In fiscal year 23, NRCS solicited requests from partners across the U.S. to develop training, conduct outreach, identify and recruit qualified individuals, and reach out to diverse producers to support producers in participating in our soil carbon stock monitoring program. The second priority is to address climate change via climate smart agriculture, forestry, and clean energy. This fiscal year, the Inflation Reduction Act funding is for agricultural producers and forest landowners nationwide who want to participate in conservation programs and adopt climate smart practices. These funds will provide direct climate mitigation benefits and will expand access to financial and technical assistance for producers to advance conservation on their farm, ranch, or forest land through practices like cover cropping, conservation tillage, nutrient management, soil carbon amendments, and more. This list of climate-smart agriculture and forestry mitigation practices consists of practices that enhancements that have met one or two criteria. Criteria number one is that the practice's ability to sequester carbon and or mitigate greenhouse gases. And two, have a quantifiable method in place to account for greenhouse gas emissions from implementing these climate-smart practices. Practice Standard 336, which was released in fiscal year 23 as a permanent standard, was added to the fiscal year 24 practice list in provisionary status. What does that mean? It means that with the help of many of you, we were able to put forth an overwhelming amount of biochar, compost, and other carbon amendment research data, highlighting benefits of carbon amendments on sequestering carbon and mitigating greenhouse gas emissions. At the present time, USDA does not have a quantification method for carbon amendments and greenhouse gases. We do have a theoretical approach and are working with our partners to develop one. This fiscal year's funding will be used to meet producer demand for our oversubscribed programs and maximize climate benefits across the country. Our third priority is to tackle food, nutrition, and security. NRCS recognizes that carbon amendments can be an important resource in areas with depleted soils and in areas experiencing drought. By amending soils with carbon amendments like biochar, our producers have an opportunity to increase their land's productivity and therefore food production. The final priority is to create more, better, and new market opportunities. Projects funded through the $3.1 billion Partnerships for Climate Smart Commodities effort are implementing climate smart production practices, marketing and quantification, monitoring, reporting, and verification of greenhouse gas benefits. The projects are helping our partners create new markets for climate smart commodities while developing the tools necessary to quantify impacts and help producers implement climate smart activities. Approximately 28% of these funded projects are evaluating Practice Standard 336 to evaluate the benefit of carbon amendments to greenhouse gas mitigation and carbon sequestration, non-greenhouse gas environmental co-benefits to air, soil, and water quality, longevity of greenhouse gas and carbon sequestration benefits, and climate adaptation benefits. How else is NRCS providing assistance in support of practices that sequester carbon? We provide technical and financial assistance for soil health testing. We continue to provide training on soil health testing guidance to field planners, making sure they are aware of the benefits of soil health testing as part of conservation planning and monitoring, so they can talk to participants about including it in their plans. We are partnering with USDA ARS to expand the Soil Health Assessment Protocol Evaluation, or SHAPE tool, to provide interpretations of soil health indicator laboratory data to assist producers with making sound decisions about their conservation management strategies. We provide technical and financial assistance for soil carbon stock monitoring, a great opportunity for farmers and ranchers to get baseline data and also participate in citizen science parallel to the USDA National Carbon Monitoring and Research Network. Both SEMA 216 and 221 provide opportunities to monitor the effectiveness of conservation practices over time. Additionally, USDA has invested $8 million to do outreach, provide support to NRCS field offices, recruit and train qualified individuals to accept the work from producers, and to reach a diverse farmer group and ranchers. We continue to provide training on Conservation Practice Standard 336 soil carbon amendments to states and our partners. We are partnering with USDA ARS. Dr. Tripp, who is present with us, and their team of partners, USBI, Cornell University, and American Farmland Trust, to develop and deliver training tools for NRCS field staff and to expand the Pacific Northwest Atlas tool to all of the U.S., which will support not just NRCS field planners, but also technical service providers in industry. This week, I've been asked, what do the numbers look like? Since NRCS began offering assistance for Practice Standard 336 in fiscal year 21, at that time it was 808, $15 million has been obligated for practices and soil health testing. $5 million of those dollars have been implemented on approximately 17,000 acres. Practice 336 has been contracted in 30 states, most of which has occurred right here in California. And since fiscal year 21, Practice 336 has seen over a 200% increase in sign-up. The National TSP Registry was updated just yesterday. So as of yesterday, February 14th, there is only one technical service provider certified for Practice Standard 336. And a TSP can only be registered in no more than 10 states. Why should this matter? Technical service providers help producers address natural resource concerns like management-induced carbon depletion by providing conservation planning services. TSP's assistance gives program participants additional options to access technical services from vetted and trained professionals with one-on-one assistance. What does this mean for Practice Standard 336? It means that with all of the resources available to assist producers, there are not enough TSPs to help get 336 on the ground. So I'll just say that this is an opportunity. And for those who are interested, I got this question a few times this week. Who is a technical service provider? These providers help producers address the concerns, and they include individuals, private businesses, American Indian tribes, nonprofit organizations, and public agencies. There are two ways in which qualifications can occur, either through certification or education and experience. The first option is to be certified through the American Society of Agronomy, or the Soil Science Society of America, or the National Alliance of Independent Crop Consultants. The second option is to have an associate's degree or higher in an agricultural science, natural resources, or rangeland management, and be able to demonstrate that you have at least 2 years of experience providing technical assistance to clients with land management and related practices. For both options, a TSP to qualify must also complete 2 NRCS courses. One is an orientation and conservation planning course, and the other is an introduction to the field office tech guide. Sometimes states will offer training that is specific to a practice or activity. The National Discipline Leads for a particular practice will also offer training on a specific practice. To learn more about being a service provider, please visit the national website. We can plan for the practice, but to implement it, we are going to need some technical service providers. Thank you for your time, and if there's any additional time, I can take a few questions.
I have the microphone back here if anybody wants to raise their hand, ask questions.
Thank you. I purposely waited till you were on the other side of the room. No, only kidding. Thank you very much. This is a very intriguing discussion. I was curious, though. I work with the Permaculture Institute of North America, and we are interested in getting more permaculturists certified as technical service providers. But my concept is that perhaps there was a joint training program put together by PINA and NRCS, where we could get a whole group of individuals certified at one time. And I realize the state by state differences, but the fundamentals seem to be the same. I've researched this somewhat. Is there any opportunity for that kind of a joint training so that we can really populate the technical service provider roster?
There is an opportunity. You would need to reach out to the National TSP office. They handle all of that.
Yeah, I have done that, and they were unaware and unable to direct me to anyone who could help me.
Well, once this is over, we'll exchange information, and I will find the resource to get you the assistance that you need.
That would be perfect. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Hello, and thank you for coming out here and presenting to us. My question is regarding TSPs also, and I'm curious about if folks from the compost and or biochar industry can partake in becoming a TSP as well, even though there could be potential conflict of interest. Or if you believe that poses conflict of interest, I guess.
I do not determine the qualifications for a TSP. I only determine the qualifications for certification for 336 as part of the TSP program. We do work with partners who provide services to producers, and they also serve as TSP. So there are a number of laboratories out there that serve as TSP, but to get specific qualifications, reach out to the National TSP office.
We have another question over here. I am going to ask real quick that with only the $5 million going out so far, are there any projections on what we might see in the next, say, 2 years? That
I do not know. For the $5 million, as far as what has been implemented of the $15 million obligated, I expect to see that to increase significantly because all day, every day, via emails, teams, and phone calls, I'm hearing from states that they are getting, producers coming into the field offices asking about 336. So, significantly more than what has occurred in the previous years between 808 and since 336 was released.
I'm wondering if you could speak to the issues around and the timing of accepting biosolids-derived biochar into 336.
Sure. Because 336 is new, it came at a time where there was some concern with environmental contaminants, specifically PFAS. And so once 336 was released as a permanent standard, language around municipal waste and biosolids were removed. USDA is working under the Secretary's office, the Secretary of Ag's office, with EPA, ARS, and other entities to evaluate what that looks like for NRCS practices. We are taking the guidance from EPA. USDA does no harm, and we're also not in the regulatory business. Our job is to support producers. At this time, EPA has deemed PFAS a contaminant. So while it's not allowable under 336, because 336 does read any carbon amendment produced from either a plant or a treated animal byproduct, and USDA has defined what a treated animal byproduct is. You can find that in the National Ag Library, USDA dictionary, and it does not include human waste. And so from the definition alone, feedstocks can be derived from either plants or treated animal byproducts, non-human waste. That does not mean that extends across all NRCS practices and activities. It just so happens that 336 was released around the same time that this became a very visible concern. There are opportunities for other practice standards like 590 nutrient management, where products produced using biosolids still can be used. Thank you for that question.
I have a question.
Sure.
We've heard of some states implementing for this year a cap on the number of dollars they would pay per instance of 336 being applied, and I think that equates somewhere around 40 acres. If you do the math based on the payment schedules, can you comment on that? And is that just every state kind of makes that own determination and decision?
The person who makes the decisions, the person that makes the decision for each state is the state conservationist. I've heard that too. That did not come from headquarters down. I've heard that some states have placed a cap for specific practices, 336 included. I've only heard about that for 2 states, so I don't know how widespread that is or will be. There is an opportunity right now, as I mentioned earlier, releasing more funds that go directly to producers to receive assistance for overprescribed practices, and that's called Act Now. It's something that was released within the last few weeks. Each state had the opportunity to rank their top resource concerns and practices for that state. The money that was distributed across states, this opportunity via Act Now will allow a participant, a producer, a farmer, rancher, forest landowner to go into an NRCS office and receive assistance specific to those practices that are on the mitigation list, and get assistance and a response to the assistance in a matter of a few weeks to a couple of months instead of a few months to a couple of years. Once the money is gone, it's gone. It's first come, first served. So if you're working with producers who are interested in 336, have them go immediately to their local NRCS office to receive assistance. And this can be also first-time participants as well. The NRCS planner will take them across the hall to the FSA office to get them set up with the farm ID. And, and they will work with them in developing a program to get them some technical service.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm from Humboldt County, and I'm working in the restoration space with forest waste. And so because I'm already generating this material, making it into biochar, I don't really have additionality, which would be necessary in order to qualify for carbon credits. But it would be nice to be remunerated for the work so that I can expand, do more. I wondered if 336 is an instrument for supporting people who are doing this work as a sort of a different way than using carbon credits. I'm the one who asked the dumb questions. I'm the guy who confused Haber-Bosch with Fischer-Tropsch.
Okay. All right. So one of the things I will say is, the first thing, in order to receive financial assistance from NRCS, there are requirements. So you have to be either EQIP or EQIP eligible or eligible for conservation stewardship program. And I do not want to tell you what the exact requirements are for that, because I'll probably be wrong. If you're eligible for those programs, there are other opportunities besides 336 for biochar. If you are developing biochar using woody residue, for example, we have another practice standard called woody residue treatment. I believe it's practice standard 384. There is an enhancement to 384 called biochar, right? That enhancement will allow an eligible producer to be able to create biochar from woody feedstock, and not only they will be able to receive technical and financial assistance to produce it, but we do not determine where the product lands, which means the producer could sell that product, but you would just have to be eligible for EQIP 384, the practice standard, and the CSP program for the enhancement. And then of course, there are other practices for which biochar, could be used. If you're wanting to treat a lagoon, there's a practice standard for that. If you're wanting to, if you have designed your amendment in a way that is nutrient rich, you can use practice standard 590. And also we're training our field planners because you are required to provide a soil test and a feedstock test for the amendment to also contract nutrient management 590 as well. So there are other opportunities, and there's some that I did not mention. There are other opportunities where these products could be, used by participants of our program.
Great. Any others?
Thank you.
Biochar.org appreciates the support of our sponsors, exhibitors, presenters, and attendees. We look forward to seeing you at our next conference in September 2025.